going on, guys? Whew, we got a good crowd already in the house. Susan, first in the house. Good to see you. I see you found the corner of Winslow. I sure did. And I forgot that I put that photo on my last week's live stream, but I think I did it after the stream. So I wanted to share that with you. Funny story about that picture is I after the live stream last week, I went to the corner of Winslow, Arizona, and there was like a couple from Canada there, and they were there for the exact same reason. So the guy literally walked up to my van. I rolled down the window, and he's like, "We're from Canada trying to get some pictures." And I said, "I'm here for the same reason." And he insisted I wear his cowboy hat. And it was a good time. It was just meant to be. And I posted several pictures on the Patreon group. I still need to share them on like my Facebook or Instagram or something. But he insisted I wear his cowboy hat. He had me posing. And oh my goodness, it was fun. I took probably a good amount of photos for those guys, and it was a little chilly, but we had a good time. So Thrifty Angela's in the house. Missed last week, hoping to not miss this week. Thanks for coming in, Angela. Bernadette is in the house, standing on the corner. Floss, good to see you. Les is in the house. Nancy in the house. Howdy from Texas. Did I skip Floss or did I say hi to Floss? Jackie is in the house. 14 degrees, snow in Southern Illinois. I think we have you beat. I looked a little bit ago and it said 9 degrees. 9 degrees is what I think it said. Whew, it's cold. But I hear that we're not allowed to complain because if you're in Alberta, Canada, it is negative 27 Fahrenheit. That's what it feels like. And we're not going to Canada. That's how come we bump into so many Canadians in Quartzsite, is because it is freezing in Canada. Oh, not happening, not happening. Mona is in the house. Good to see you. Sean looks pretty fly in the hat. I have no idea what that is. Let's see here. Patricia's in the house. How much snow are we getting? We're getting, I think we've got a couple of inches down there, out there. The shop, I'm at home. The shop, I think, has a little bit more than we do. Yep. Do you take your batteries in? At this point in the winter, I do. Down in at the shop, I am actually staying in my van now that I got the remodel done, and I can get my van a lot warmer than I can get my office with the mini split. It's comfortable in there, but if I have to run the little heater anyway, I might as well stay in my van, and I can get it get it uncomfortably hot in my van, to the point where I was like, oh, I think Maddie is not liking how warm I have it. So when I came home the other day from the road, I drove like 730 miles and came straight to the house. So what I did was I put a 12-volt heating blanket on my batteries. Now, do I suggest this for anyone long-term? No. But I did it overnight and knew I would be able to go out and check on it, because I did not want to even deal with carrying those 2 batteries in at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night. So a heating blanket, and they did fine. They did really good. Matter of fact, my van, I had a gallon of water in my van, and it was probably about halfway full. It's a gallon container, halfway full, sitting on the floor, and it didn't freeze. It did not freeze the water. So it didn't get horribly cold in my van. Surfing Dodo in the house. Like the picture, a sweet picture from Winslow, like the one with the van in it. I loved it. I had a good time with that. Dale is in the house, and welcome. Is it Miss Prince or Mr. Prince? Should we say Mr. Prince? Welcome Prince into the family. What a wonderful I got you day. So, Debbie is in the house. Good to see you, friend. Good to see you. Let's see here. If the roads weren't so bad, um, I would make it out. I'm not sure if I'm going to get back to the shop tomorrow or not. I need to, but with the roads so far, not sure if I'm going to make it. Cindy Hall is in the house. Good to see you. How's the desert still? I know you guys are enjoying the weather. Annette's in the house. I'm going to speed up here. Annette, love the shout out you got on Bunny's channel. Cool, love that. Meowser's in the house. Hey, good to see you. I am let's see here. Milo and Otis in the house. Good to see you. Helen's in the house. Deborah's in the house. I got to hurry up. Gary is in the house. Good to see you guys. The normal crew is in the house. I'm just going to speed up, guys. If I missed you, hello. Mo Bang is in the house. Go check out Mo Bang's video. He put Cindy's van in this week's video. Deborah's in the house. HK 32 in Sturgis without the windshield. I don't even want to know what that final number is. So, Rusty, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Vanderella's in the house. She was actually in the house. She walked right behind us to let Maddie outside. Tommy, good to see you. Kathleen, why are people so surprised? It's cold. It's winter. I know, right? Exactly. We've actually had a pretty cold winter here in Missouri. Last year it got cold too. This year we've got more precipitation than I remember in years. So I did go down to the shop for a couple of days and picking up sticks, getting all the tools unloaded from the van. Had a couple of meetings, and I'm going to tell you, like, there's no way Sean and I would have been able to get any work done. I've got to this year, at the end of the year, figure out my budget so that I can get a better heating system in there, whether it's actually a wood burning stove because we have so many scraps, or some kind of a industrial type heater. We have got to fix that problem. I don't think I can leave for 3 months at a time every single year, hoping to make a little bit in the desert. Although it was a fabulous time and Sean and I did okay. We definitely paid for our gas and our monthly bills. So it could just happen. I only got to do it for 6 more years. 2,266 days or something like that. My 12-volt heating blanket was so nice. And Brother Paul loved the blanket. He was, he used that from Nancy. Absolutely. Bouncing down the road. No, I'm not driving. Yay. Kathleen Klein, I know being a truck driver for so many years that you have driven on 87 from Phoenix to Winslow. And I was here last week. I'm not sure if you caught that, but that road was quite the drive. And I don't even know, like right now with snow on the ground out there, there is absolutely no way that I feel like I probably would have turned around and gone back to Phoenix and 10 to 20 but I was trying to get to Interstate 66, the Highway 66 for a video, which I didn't get a whole lot of footage. Anyway, there's so many things that are closed on Route 66. There's a lot of businesses that are no longer. It's all, half of it's even torn down or the windows are boarded up. Got a couple good shots though. The desert is beautiful. I'm sure it is. 12 degrees in New York. Good to see you, Mary. Thanks for coming in. In 6 or 7 months, people are going to be complaining about how hot it is. Please, no please, Inhumans. I will tell you, I've talked to Sean about it. Les and Bernadette know. Like, I do significantly better in the heat. It's hot and nobody likes sweating their butt off. But if I get up and work like 5 to 11 and then like in the evening, I do okay. Up to like when it was like 107, that when it's 100, I don't like to. But we just work and we have the fans going and we sweat. In the winter, like if you ever busted your knuckle on a something steel, like, hard in the winter, because your hands are cold, the pain is like 10 times. I'm not exaggerating. The pain intensifies. Intense. I don't know. The intensity increases when it is cold, when your skin is cold. I don't like it. My feet get cold. I'm done. That shirt looks good on you. Everybody says that. I'm going to have to start making pink Johnny's Journey shirts. Because it's going to be 40 to 50 by the weekend. Welcome to the Midwest. Welcome to the Midwest. After you talked about your batteries, I ran out to my van to bring mine in, Jackery in, but my doors are frozen shut. If your batteries are out in the cold and you can't get them in, disconnect your shore power. You just don't want them to charge while they're frozen. It will ruin the BMS system. In like the Bluetti, the Jackery, the EcoFlow, AceBolt, whatever you've got, those power banks, they don't like to be cold. Desert Deb is in the house. Ava's in the house. Ava should not have gotten more snow than we did. We are south of Ava by over an hour. So hopefully she just got some flurries or an inch or so. Howdy from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Always gorgeous in the land of enchantment. I was right south of you like 3 days ago. And I remember you saying Santa Fe was getting snow. The big city south of you guys, is that Santa Rosa? And I thought, oh, she's up in Santa Fe. But 6 more years, how come? I am going to retire. I am going to get on the road. My idea of retirement is probably different than a lot of people's idea of retirement. I'm sure I'll always fiddle with stuff. I'm sure I'll always like, hey, come on up to the shop. But I'm going to travel. I'm going to get in my van and go. Jane is in the house. Good to see you, Jane. So I am definitely going to do that. Thanks for the fire view the other night. I know I'll miss the fire view. CC Camper lady in the house. Good to see you. Steve is in the house. Good to see you as well, Steve. Let's see here. I'm hitting buttons. Teresa's in the house. Got to do a walkthrough of Teresa's cargo trailer build the other day. Sticking to the interstate during winter is your best bet. At least if you break down or there's a wreck, you're better chance of getting emergency help. And it's funny she says this because the further north I got on 87, there's like some, like, it looks like some resort towns. I remember specifically one was called Strawberry. When you get north of those like 5 or 6 cities, I'm telling you, for miles, I maybe saw 2 cars, maybe 2. And that herd of elk that I saw, if they would have been in the road and I just so happened would have hit one, like not been able to stop in time, like I could have sat there for who knows how long before I would have got help. So that is a perfect suggestion. The problem too for me was I actually looked at a map, and normally I GPS stuff and just follow the GPS, but I got burned in Sedona not real long ago doing that, a couple years ago. So I did look at the map and I thought I was going to do okay. It did show me going through a national forest. Hindsight, now that I know, I'm letting you guys know, 87, like if you don't know how to shift in your van, I'm not saying that's a good road to learn on, but you're going to end up learning pretty quick because you have to shift, downshift, upshift while you're in there. It was 105 when I put my insulation in this and the soundproofing. Absolutely. 71 in Quartzsite today, but dang the winds. very mild winds tomorrow. Quartzsite, that is Arizona. And I wish there was times in my life where I paid more attention. The winds in Arizona and New Mexico are like, honestly, New Mexico is worse, in my opinion, are worse than anything I've ever seen. Like, we literally rarely have winds here like they do out there. And I don't know geographically what causes them, like the Santa Ana winds. Like, what about Santa Ana creates those winds that I have no idea. I wish I would have paid attention better in whatever class that was. Pink Johnny's Journey shirts. Somebody had Lynn had a light blue hat on, and I tell you, I feel like if I would have had a dozen of them, I would have sold a dozen of them. It was like, oh, where'd she get that hat at? Oh, man. Oh, I know now. High tomorrow in Omaha is 2, and tomorrow night is -15. Oh, man. I'm only briefly complaining because Kelly and I are getting ready to get out of here. But with the roads the way they are, I hope the airlines don't cancel any flights. And I literally am scared to death, although it's still the safest transportation out there. I'm scared to death to even think about getting on an airplane right now. After there's another one flipped over. Oh, man, I just can't. Let's see here. We have 1.5 inches snow on the ground. It's snowing again, 8 degrees. Absolutely. It's so crazy. If you guys have any van questions, put QQQ and don't hesitate to ask the question while I'm sitting here rambling around about snow and weather and putting heating blankets over my battery and wishing I was in Quartzsite again. Oh. I agree about New Mexico winds. It can be brutal. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Canyon and passes. I believe it. I believe it. Pink shirts with V-necks. I will do that. I need to learn to shift down, etc. in a van. Haven't needed it yet, but should practice. Absolutely. You don't want to practice when you're on the mountain and you've got cars coming up on you and you're already like the semis. You get on a mountain and a semi is going, like if you get in their way and you're not figuring out how to downshift, you literally could cause a semi because they've got momentum and they need their momentum. Because if you cause them to have to brake hard or downshift, and then they're going to start struggling, it's an issue. So knowing how to downshift, getting in the right lane, you got to practice that. So if you want to practice, go, it's not a busy highway, go to 87 and go practice. Lori, I agree with Jane. Pink shirts with a V-neck. I'll tell you what, if I made 50 pink t-shirts with a V-neck, somebody would come up the next day and say, do you have any green ones? I'm like, oh, Aussie Van Life in the house. Good to see you. Naj is in the house. Everyone, sorry I'm late. You're just on time. We're just fussing about the weather. And you're in, where's Naj at? I'm thinking of Fatima. I'm going to mess it up here. I will never go up a mountain on a dirt road ever again. The problem, Lynn, is sometimes you get on these roads and you're like, too far in to turn around before you realize that maybe I shouldn't be on this road. And then you're trying to do a 15-point turn to get turned around because you're 21 feet long. And Kathleen Klein's like, I've done it with 40 feet. You can do it. Oh, but it can be unnerving. So, strong winds, go fly a kite. I'll tell you what, there is like that in between, because there's winds that you can't fly a kite in. And that's how it was in Quartzsite. I felt like Either it was, you might be able to get your kite up today, or don't even try it, you're going to break it. So downshift to go up, downshift to go up. Yep. Watch those RPMs, downshift, and just nice and steady wins the race. Stay in the right lane. All left lanes are for passing. And a lot of times on big inclines, you'll see they'll add a lane. And when they add a lane, typically leave it for the semis. But if you are in your van and you can scoot over, not interrupting any semis, then that's what I do. But if there's a line of semis, I know ultimately at some point I'm going to be doing better than they are. So I'll kind of stay in that middle lane and, just nice and easy wins the race thing. Always stay in the right lane. Yep. Stay far from truckers. Give them room to maneuver. Yep. That is exactly what I do. Mountains sound very intimidating. I'm just saying they can be. Do you move the shifter to the right and it will automatically downshift? No, you move in a ProMaster. This is the ProMaster only, because without being in the Transit, it might be the same. But if you've got a GMC or you've got a Savannah, whatever, it might be different. In the Ram ProMaster, when you've got your gear shift all the way back, you're in drive. If you move it to the left, like towards you in the driver's seat, it's going to go into manual mode. When I do that, I let my foot off the gas. I put it over, and it's going to automatically register the gear that it thinks you should be in. 4th gear, 5th gear. And then, so you've got it all the way moved over. And as you go, watch those RPMs. If those RPMs get too high, then you can, if you're in 6, just put it right back into overdrive. If you are struggling and those RPMs are dropping, then I downshift, and mine, I just move it forward or move it back. But it's in that left position. And once you get to the top of the mountain, don't forget, put it back in drive, and your automatic transmission typically will downshift for you going down hills. At least mine does. So simplify my journey. Simply me journey is in the house. Good to see you. Have a great night, Lily. Good to have you in here. Yep, you got to learn. It can be a little, we were taught to downshift on snow and ice in driver's ed. Yep. I'll tell you, the most important thing that you can do, is to not brake hard in the snow and ice. And if you start to slide, get your foot off the brake and straighten it out that way. So, to be moved to the left, LOL, not the right. Yes. Yeah. When you get in your van, Gracie, and you pull your gear shifter all the way back, it goes into drive. If you push it to the left, it'll go into manual. You can see it. Go into manual. It'll pop up a number. That D will go away, and it'll say 6, 5, 4, depending on how long you waited to throw it into manual. I'm good. I'm just working hard here. There you go. My SUV has the option to go into manual. I've used it in the mountains. Absolutely. I think I'm confused. Some last week asking what the ProMaster is. I think it's a Ducato. It is. Here, which I said last week. I wondered why I had replies about motorbikes. Oh, yeah. Nope. There was some people in the chat last week talking about motorcycles, motorbikes, but yeah. Let's see here. I meant to say the left. It is the left. Yep, you're right. Turn the radio down and listen to the motor, right? Yeah, you can hear it for sure. And turn your air conditioning off. If you are pulling a mountain, turn your air conditioner off and put it into manual. do your van a big favor. And yep, the Transit has M for manual, but I don't know how to shift into manual. You should be. I think the Transit is close to. I feel like it might be the same, but I don't want to say. Yeah. Do you do the same if going uphill? Uphill is what I'm talking about. Uphill is what I'm talking about. When I'm going downhill, my ProMaster has no problem downshifting for me. Everyone, yes, my gear shifts where needed also. Yep. Thanks for coming in, Cindy. We were just talking about your tour on Mobang's channel. But wouldn't it be better to be driving so you get to feel for the difference in the shifts? Let me see what he said. You can't, if you start your van and you've got your foot on the brake and you put it into drive, you can push it over to manual just to see, put it back into drive. And as long as you haven't gone anywhere, you're not doing it while you're like, it's not going to work if you try and do it the other way. Because when you push it over, it's probably going to be in one. So, it is a difficult thing, I think, to explain to somebody with so many different vehicles when you're not actually driving. But yeah. I would be I feel like the Transit's the same. I feel like the Transit's the same. I shifted to manual when I drove down that mountain road and slowly pumped the brakes. Yeah. Lynn, your van should have downshifted for you. Do vans have automatic brake systems? I know you can't pump them in snow and ice. You cannot. Well, what I do is not pump them. And I'm not sure if that's what they meant. But what I'll do is if I'm coming close to a stop and there is snow and ice on the road in the Midwest in my front wheel drive van, I'll take my foot off the gas, off the brake, and I will just let my van coast. As I get closer, I will kind of test my brakes and try. And if I can ease down on them and not start sliding, then I will do that, kind of let off a little bit. But what you don't want to do is obviously push them straight down. And you never want to do that on an overpass when it's snow, ice, because the overpasses have that draft and they will be covered in black ice. Good to know. I always worried about using the brakes so much. Yep. So you don't have to move over to the left for going downhill. The shifter, you don't. It should automatically downshift. Your van should automatically downshift. So it kind of recognizes it. So I don't know how to downshift in the Roadtrek. I don't even know if because the Roadtreks are older. I don't know if the shifter is on the column. I don't know if it's on the, like the ProMaster and that ours are on the, the column, not the steering wheel, but it's got like a little thing there that we move. I don't know what you call that. It's a stick shift type thing. I will just need to practice. Yep. Just holler at me. When you're sitting in the driver's seat of your van and you've got nothing to do, give me a call and I will walk you through it. The console. Yeah. I would crap myself if I ever had to drive on snow and ice. You guys are brave, right? We don't do it intentionally. Not in the Midwest. If you guys ever watch Trenton Alley, like I can't even. Those guys are like, it's only 8 inches. It's only 14 inches. And oh my goodness. In my Roadtrek, I have to shift to second gear to go uphill and downhill. So you just have drive 2 and 3 or 2 and 1 or 1, 2 and 3. Or do you have 1, 2 and then drive? Did you go through Payson? I feel like I might have. Matter of fact, Nancy, I don't know if you know this, but when You left the live stream last week. You left me a message on where I could stay, and that was literally perfect. That's exactly where I stayed at. Yeah, drive 2-in-1. So that's actually easier than what like the Transit and the Ram ProMaster is. It's easier, but you don't have as many choices. That's like the good old days when you used to get stuck and you would either put it in 2 or 1 so that you wouldn't like just bury yourself. So ours have 6 gears and you just adjust them according to the hill. So hopefully you never have to go through all 5 of them. I had to learn how to drive a 72 Chevelle on snow and ice in the Chicago suburbs. No way. No, thank you. I had a big Ford LTD for a brief period of time. I had a Buick Skylark. If anybody knows anything about either one of those cars, they are huge. And when you're on snow and ice, it is just like a bucket of sliding, whatever. So the front wheel transit, I have not had a problem with. So in Massachusetts, ice and snow are unavoidable. My driveway is a glacier right now. That's what Deborah was saying. She was like chipping away at ice for I don't know how long. And it's just never ending up there. So they are the boats. Muscle cars. Yep. Big ones. So yeah. That's the problem, like in the Midwest, we don't get enough of this snow and ice and bad weather to really for people to really learn how to drive in it. People that really know how to drive in it, they're prepared. They know when to go out, when to not go out. In the Midwest, we need a gallon of milk. We go out there and get it. And you've got like kids that have never driven on it before. And yeah, it can be quite comical. Also with front wheel drive, you can't do donuts very easy. She's 100% right. Ask her how she knows. Like I'm doing donuts in my van, right? Learned how to drive in the snow and ice, but been in Texas a long time. This year you might have had to if you have been out there. The first trip in my semi by myself, 26 inches of snow fell on me, just kept on going. Oh, man. I'll tell you guys what happened to me. I was on the east side of Amarillo, Texas. And I stopped at a Love's and I thought, I got out and everything is iced over. There's a little bit of something coming down. And I'm like, the clock moved from 8:30 to 9:30. So I went inside and I was trying to figure out if I was going to go further or just call it a night. It was actually one of those Loves that lets people stay there. And I thought, should I just call it a night or should I keep going? And I thought, I looked up the next Loves. I looked up the next Cracker Barrel, and it was 303, almost 3 hours away. There's no Cracker Barrel on 40 in Oklahoma that's listed on the map, the Google Maps. So I was like, I'm just going to call it a night. I woke up the next morning, had my coffee, got on the road. I was not probably 20 miles down the road. 3 semis were, 2 of them were jackknifed. 1 of them was over on its side. They were actually unloading the semi. Probably drove maybe 5 more miles. 2 more semis were in the median. One was jackknifed. I think I told Kelly 2 of them were flipped over. 1 of those might have flipped over. So for whatever reason, I decided to stop for the night. It was the best decision I had made because obviously the roads were in horrible condition going further down 40. They don't know how to drive when it's 75 and sunny. You may or may not have a fact there. That is true. On Sunday, we had 6 inches of snow, which turned to buckets of rain afterwards. I came back to the shop. What day did I go to the shop? The 15th. pouring raining. It rained and rained. The dock at the pond was lifting. It was so much rain. So I've camped in snow but never driven in it. Hope I never need to. Absolutely. My first snow driving in Nebraska was fun when I turned left, but the car keeps going straight until it stopped by the curb. Rude awakening. It is. I mean, yeah. First snowfall, go out to a large parking lot late at night, practice, you'll gain confidence. That's exactly what we did. I was in high school and there was 4 of us and we worked late at a drive-in, and it was a big parking lot with a grocery store next to us. And we just kept practice driving in the snow, and I may or may not have hit one of the vehicles. May or may not have. I grew up in Massachusetts, drove pickups, pulled horse trailers, got my license over 50. You learn how to drive in all kinds of weather. You sure do. Love's is now building RV parks near their stations. They have showers, dumps, laundry, hookups. There is one about a mile and a half from my shop, a brand new Love's. It's got like 5 RV sites. The problem with that one, though, is because they've got RV sites, you can't just park there. You have to either get a site or move on. That's what I've been told. I never tried it, so I can tell you I stayed at a Love's twice on the way home, and they were as nice as could be to me, no problem whatsoever. Oh, I grew up in Boise, Idaho, so I learned to drive in the snow, but then lived in Oregon and was hit by ice storms. Yeah. Ice and snow, I feel in the Midwest, that is totally different, because ice is like, I mean, people are just, if it's ice, I don't even go out. If it's snow, I will tend to go out. The problem with going out in the snow is if you come back after dark and now it's refrozen or something, it can be slick. I will not drive in ice and snow. That's a smart choice. Ice is the worst. Control is an illusion. Yep. All right, guys, quick break here. I'm going to say a big thank you to all my channel members and my Patreon members. I appreciate you guys, all the little extra that you do for the channel and all the support over on Patreon too. All right. Big thank you, guys. None can drive on ice. Please don't even try. No one. Yeah. Yep. Stay off the roads. Yep. Not van related. How close are you to Hallsville, Missouri? Sif lived there one. Hallsville, Missouri. You know what? I've never heard of that. Hallsville. I will definitely check that out. Bum, bum, bum. A wonder it came right up. I can tell you that. So let's see where it's at. So I'm 2 hours and 35 minutes away from there. Now I can tell you that's from my house. That's from here. 2 hours and 35 minutes. I can tell you from 1114 Madison 403, I am probably further. 3 hours and 39 minutes. And not only that, but as soon as I clicked on it, there was a route is affected by snow. So 193 miles from my shop, but doesn't look like I'm going there tonight, because that is, you can go 339, 344 is through the Mark Twain Forest. That'd be a nice drive. That would be a nice drive. So let's see here. Ice on trees make a lot of limbs breaking. That's what happened here. That's what happened at my shop. You guys might see some footage of that on my channel. I think I'm going to add some of that. I have got a ton. I say ton a lot, but I really do mean it. Lots of tree branches down at the property. Paul has got a lot of the little stuff picked up in a pile, so that's fantastic. But I've got some big ones down. So Sean and I were talking about it yesterday, and there's going to be some some tree clearing on the property. So Veronica's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. We were 56 earlier today, and now it's 24. Pebbles does not want to go out. Maddie does not either. And I will tell you, I took Maddie down to the shop I went down for 2 days, and it really was not a fun time for her. And it really was not warm enough. So I'm going down to the shop tomorrow, going to stay overnight, and then the guys are going to bring me back Thursday so they can use my car while I'm on my cruise. So Maddie will not go with me. It is unfunctionable down at the shop. I don't know how those guys made it when the power was out for 33 hours. I have no idea how they made it. If you had a wood burner, you got free wood. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're talking about it. Are you more on the east side of the state, closer to Illinois? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yep. I am very close to that east side. I am right along Interstate 55 at my house, which is on the border. I could probably ride my bike to the Mississippi. And at the shop, I'm a little bit further away, but not much. So, and I'm real close. The shop is pretty close, not far from the Arkansas border. So, not too bad. Yep. Surfing Dodo, you got that right. Did you learn anything more about to issue the orange paint did to your trees? Oh, I know. So I messaged the guy, and he said it's not from the orange paint, that the surveyor takes a chunk out of the tree with his machete and paints it. And the funny thing about that is, when I talked to the surveyor, he had a machete. So the fact that survey companies do that infuriates me. It just makes me boil. I cannot believe that. Oh, it just drives me crazy. So nice to see you in Quartzsite. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I have 2 neighbors down at my shop, and my one neighbor had his property surveyed, and he had it surveyed to put a fence in. And so what they do is they mark a whole bunch of trees, thinking that you might be cutting them down for the fence, I guess. I don't know. So they took a machete and they took chunks like the size of my head or bigger out of every probably 20 feet, every tree. And then, so they took a chunk out of the bark and then spray painted it. So these trees are like sap and whatever are just oozing out of these trees. Like they're gonna die. It's just crazy. I'll never complain again about the 18 degrees Celsius here. Right? You're not allowed to fuss. You know what, though? I think we acclimate to our temperatures, 18 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. We acclimate.
Celsius is 64.4.
64? Quit fussing. 64? Yeah, I need to move down. But you know what? We couldn't live in the heat probably that you guys do. Like in Quartzsite, there's no way I could function in Quartzsite when it is 115 degrees. We acclimate to our surroundings over the years. Like I follow some Canadian channels, and this guy works outside in a t-shirt. Trent Nally work outside. He works outside in a t-shirt in the snow. You get used to it. And that's why The snow here, we really stay inside. I've never had a job where I had to be outside in the cold. The heat, I've worked in the heat my entire life. Not in nursing, but when I'm not nursing, I do a lot outside hiking, and I'll hike in 100-degree weather. So I'm used to the heat, not the cold. I don't like the cold. I'm a big baby. I'm a big baby. I was very happy to see you and your brother too. Awesome, awesome. 77 in Quartzsite today. It was 80 when I was there on like a couple of different occasions. I had a like a long sleeve t-shirt on, and not even an hour after getting outside, I had to go inside and put a t-shirt back on. I'm like, yep, it's too cold or it's too hot. I will not go to Quartzsite when it gets hot. Yep. It's too much. I need to build a 12-volt cord for the Bluetti 180. The 12-volt plug usually have a fuse in them. How many amps? The fuse on the 12-volt 10 amp plug, if you're going to make one, it's 10 amp. It's the little glass 10 amp fuses. The AC 180, to my knowledge, it doesn't have the aviator port. You have to just get, and honestly, unless you don't shop with Amazon has a 12 gauge wire, 12-aught wire cigarette lighter plug that has the O-rings on it. Get it and be done. Yep. So, but 10 amp fuse. Trent and Allie are in Utah. I haven't watched them in a while, though. I like watching the building. I love construction stuff. So, has anyone made it to Q Mountain? I didn't. Ever since I had chemo, I can't handle the heat. My dad had MS, and I took him to Michigan every year in May, beginning of June, before the real heat here started. And I would go back up there in October and bring him back home because they could not handle the heat. He had a place right up on Lake Superior, Calumet, up past Calumet, Michigan. Amique, he bought a house in Amique later. He used to stay on Lake Superior at a campground up past the Houghton Bridge, the Brockway Mountain area. And then when he couldn't do the rocks on Lake Superior anymore, then he bought a tiny home in Amique, Michigan. And good times. Working in the wind and cold is a miserable experience. I left Nebraska because of it. We just had a big tree trimmed of large limbs, and the sapping that occurs is the tree repairing itself. I asked the tree trimmer what I should coat the cuts with, and that is what he told me. So you didn't coat it with anything? Left Minnesota when I was 17. Do not miss the winters. It will trick you in the summertime, but not nice in the winter. Absolutely. -36. No way. Absolutely, Alex. Glad to help. Yeah. Yep. Don't like the wind and the cold. I'm a big baby. I told Kelly, I said, I'm going down there. I've got to shoot a couple of videos. Like, I need to get these shot. And they're like review videos, stuff like that. And I'm like, it's just impossible to get work done. It's just cold. The shop does okay. Like, I think Paulie today, this is like the coldest it's been. I think he said it was 36 inside the shop because the concrete pretty warm. And I have insulation, rigid foam insulation on the walls, 2 inches, and I've got spray foam on the ceiling. But the doors are 12-foot by 12 foot, or 10 foot? No, 12 foot by 12 foot. And there's no insulating them. They're roll doors. You can't insulate them. So unfortunately, it's only going to keep so much air out. So unfortunately, my family in Rhode Island wonders why I didn't move back in 84 after the divorce. Sorry, I like Texas. Yep. Desert Deb says she's down for Q Mountain. Down for Q Mountain. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I have been unfortunately sitting at the table for the last hour before the thing. It is tax season time, so I have got to get my taxes going before my next build comes in. And yep, it's sapped over the cuts. Yeah, mine's just like running down the tree. So hopefully it'll stop. So my next build was a guy that I've been working on his van a little bit, solar insulation, windows, fan. He had to push back. So the next van you guys are going to see built is a Ram ProMaster 2022 Ram ProMaster 3500 extended air conditioner, fan. Gonna have a lot of some of the details that Lynn's build has, and gonna be working on some projects in between builds. So it is gonna be a busy summer. And I didn't tell you guys because I just found out on Valentine's Day, Sam is not gonna come back in March. He is moving out of the house from mom and dad, and he needs a job with benefits and a higher salary. So he is not going to be coming back. Sean and I, we're not going to bring anybody else in right now because we work so well together. We're going to be just fine. I'll get Kelly down there, get her on the chop saw if I need be. Did you say where you're going this time with Kelly? We're flying to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we are going to Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Half Moon Cay, Cozumel. 7 days, and then I'll be back, and I'll get back. 2 days later, a van shows up, so it's going to be busy. When is it going to be warm enough to do the vans and the windows? Honestly, you can come when you want. I would say closer to the end of March, beginning of April. If we have a warm spell, come on up. That'll be like a day project, depending on how many windows you want. So when you're ready, we'll be ready. AC, that will need a big electrical system. Who's got an AC? I love hearing about the AC projects because, hers. She's going to do it just like Les and Bernadette. She's going to have, she is going to spend a lot of her time mooch docking from a friend of hers. So she'll live in her van on a friend's property. She'll have full hookups. So she will have a AC current air conditioning unit. Looking forward to see more of Kelly, right? I told her today she's going to have to learn how to sew, so she's already done with me. Oh, my sewing machine's giving me a fit. It is going in the trash can, and I'm going to either have to get a new one or hire it out because I am done with that sewing machine. It has given me a fit from almost day one. I should have returned it on day one. Something's wrong with it. Oh, when is it going to be warm here? I cannot wait. I hope when I get back from this next trip, I really wasn't on vacation like the last 7 weeks or however many weeks we were out there, because I felt like if I wasn't helping a client, I was helping a friend, or I was taking somebody somewhere, doing something for somebody, working on my own van. Some downtime, a little bit of downtime, but even in Ironwood, I was like, I'm not doing anything in Ironwood. Ended up doing a couple of jobs in Ironwood. So this is a vacation. So what are you sewing? I actually was making covers for my mattresses. So I want them to have covers that I can remove. I would love to have some custom cushions made. And I think that's what I'm just going to do. I don't know if I'll make them so that they're washable or not. and I don't know if I'll do them. I'll probably just hire it out. I'm kind of done with the whole, that aggravating sewing thing. I sew good. I've made cushions for a lot of my clients. My bobbin tension has got an issue, and I was trying to work on that. I was messaging with Debbie Babb, ultimately ended up losing the tension screw, took my sewing machine completely apart trying to find it. It is gone into thin air. So I am done with it. I'm done with it. I burnt out my sewing machine putting trim on my Reflectix. I hand sewed my Reflectix. I can tell you that. It was something. And I hand sewed it because I didn't want to have issues with my sewing machine. My son brought me some motorcycle pants over to sew. I sewed those. A different part of my sewing machine gave me a fit on those, not the bobbin tension. And so I really, 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 really feel like it's the sewing machine, because I've been sewing since I was probably a teenager. So that's just like you, Johnny, always on the help mood. I tried to. I had to hand sew. Yep, I hand sewed mine. They turned out really well. Matter of fact, I gave them away to somebody else to use. So I liked it. Is the weather there why so many of you have power stations, so that you don't have to rely on sun in the winter for solar? I think more people here, I'm going to assume that you're talking about power stations as opposed to the lithium battery setup. And that's what I'm going to answer. And then if you say something different, then I'll re-answer it. But the full electrical system is complicated. People are unsure of what size wire to use, how much battery they need, what size fuses they need, where they need shutoffs at, where they need breakers at, there's a lot of complicated parts to it. Power banks, ultimately, you could use it just on its own. Put a cigarette lighter adapter on the end of things, and you can use it all by itself. Or a little fuse block, one wire to your fuse block, and you've got DC current. One surge protector, plug everything into your surge protector, plug your surge protector into your power bank, you got power. If it's not enough power, you buy a second one for backup or for more power, or an additional battery, and you're good. Now, the simplicity, the easy access, it doesn't take up a lot of storage, are reasons that people use those. If you want the ultimate electric setup, you never have to worry about your setup. You've got 400, 600 watts of solar. You're charging while you drive. If you've got 400 amp hours of battery, or 200 to 400 amp hours of battery, unless you've got an air conditioner, you probably don't even have to lift up the battery compartment ever to look at it. It's just going to function on its own. But when it does have a problem, where do you start? A lot of people don't know where to start, and this is an easy fix. Half the time you turn it off, turn it back on, and it fixes itself. That's the reason these power banks are becoming humongous additions to people's homes for backup power when they lose power, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, whatever. A lot of people, they want that backup power as opposed to a generator where they've got to figure out where they got to get gas at. Solar power, backup battery, I've got 800 watts on my shop. I will be getting a better backup system because Les and Bernadette and Paul were at my shop for 33 hours. And if they didn't have their vans with their backup batteries, they wouldn't have had any power out there. So, yep, that is why we do what we do. Guys, it is 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. I got to get up early, go back to the shop, shoot some videos, come back home, pack for vacation. For all my Patreon members, I got my black shoes replaced. So, got that taken care of. So, anyway, guys, thanks for spending your Tuesday night with me. If you had a van question and I didn't see it or I didn't answer it, send it to me an email, and I will answer that right away. And take care. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Am I going to be on a cruise next Tuesday? I'll be on a cruise next Tuesday. Let's just plan on no video, no live stream next Tuesday. Night, guys.